Hey guys, Steve Welch here with your fact of the day. Headlights. Did you guys know the reason they call it burned out when a headlight goes out? It's because they actually used to burn. Seriously. So, going to show you that on the fact for the day here, and definitely like, subscribe, and we'll get into that right now.
Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this website. This is actually from Napa, the auto parts store, of course. So napaonline.com, and this is knowhow.napaonline.com. I'll go ahead and I'll link it below, of course. But this actually had a lot of really good information that I wanted to show you guys on the old style headlights and the reason that they actually burned, right? So you can take a look right here. You can kind of see how the old headlights looked right now, and obviously, they talk a lot about what the new headlights look like and what people expect out of headlights. But if you kind of scroll down here, you'll kind of see that there were some lanterns, and there were two ways that you actually had headlights on your car. So you had what was up top, which this headlight here, which is an acetylene-based headlight, and I'll go into that here in just a second. But then you also had an oil-based headlight or a kerosene-based headlight that was actually in the back or sometimes on the side, and you had to go through and you had to light these lights before you would drive anywhere. So you'd open the front and open the back of it. You had little spots in here where you could get some air in there, so obviously it would burn, of course. But you would actually open this case that's right here, and you can see there's a little thumb right here, and I believe you just spin that off, and you open that case to actually put a flame to the headlight. And then you have behind it, you have this little mirror, which is actually a lot of what they still use today. You've got mirrors behind it, and basically mirrors to direct the light and where the light goes. So kind of looking here, so here's an oil lamp, first type of lights for used for early service. Brass era automobiles, the elegant lamp may help others to see the vehicle, but it could not provide enough light for nighttime driving. So it's kind of back to your tail lights, and the headlights, the tail lights, all those stuffs, those items developed from an idea. So this actually tells a lot about it. Early vehicles didn't come standard with lights. Owners would order them as options or buy them as accessories. When you think about all the safety equipment that comes on a car now, airbags and anti-lock brakes and all this stuff, these things didn't have headlights. So they didn't have headlights, tail lights. Basically, if you drove at night, you were just kind of, you were, brass ones, if you know what I mean. But it's so these fixtures are obviously integral in a car now, right? But the very first vehicle lighting were adapted from the horse-drawn carriage. They served only to help the automobiles be seen. They had to figure out how to make something that was bright enough that it could give you view ahead. Despite weak performance, these lamps were elegant, designed to function at speeds common in the day, which was 30 to 40 miles per hour. And that's how they did that. But this is a 1910 right here that this is showing. So this is an acetylene generator mounted to the running board of a 1910 Oakland that uses carbide crystals and water that forms acetylene gas. So basically, from what I can tell, you drip the water onto carbide gas or onto carbide crystals, and it creates acetylene gas. Which acetylene is the same thing you use for like a welding torch, and obviously it burns and it can burn pretty high. But you had a way to adjust how much of the acetylene would go into the headlight. Um, so this will show. So this particular car includes the next development in automotive lighting too, acetylene headlights that not only help vehicles be seen, but also light the way ahead. The acetylene lights came in two forms, powered by an acetylene generator or with the Presto light system, a cylinder filled with pressurized acetylene gas. So it could either form the gas for you through this type of a system, which would, make that generator happen, or you could basically put it in a tank. And if you can kind of think about like how they're doing like hydrogen cars now, you can have tanks like that. But this was only to run the headlights. It was not to run the vehicle. It had nothing to do with running the car. You could drive the car without it, of course. But it shows the acetylene generator works in similar ways to the lights used by miners. So miners used to have those sealed lights on their head, and those lights had to have a fuel source in order to keep burning, and that's kind of what they used for that. But inside the generator, water slowly drips onto carbide crystals, producing the acetylene gas. The gas travels in hoses to the lights and burns brightly in the headlight assembly. So just like in a modern halogen headlight, a silver mirror behind the source reflects the light forward of the vehicle. And then this is the tank right there. So you can see the tank instead of a generator. They just fill that tank with gas, and then you could use it. I would venture to say that was probably a pretty expensive way to do it, to actually have somebody pressurize a tank and do it that way. So that's probably one of the reasons people didn't drive at night a whole lot back then. But it's burning acetylene inside the headlight enclosure. It's only a different source of the gas. So the owners of the vehicles with the simplified setup need the tanks refilled instead of generating the gas on the fly. Acetylene lights are like an acetylene torch. They actually burn pretty bright. Wouldn't trust them at today's speeds, but there weren't too many nice roads back then, so speeds were generally much slower. I've seen some of those old videos where they're just driving over. I mean, we gripe about a pothole right now. The roads were like pretty much all potholes, apparently. It says because taillights were intended to only make the vehicle visible, and oil lamps were the solution before the advent of electric lights. One lamp reflected rearward, and also a clear window to a license plate. So I like this too. It shows this picture right here. It says horseless carriage. I like that. But yeah, so both the oil and acetylene lamps required drivers to use a match to light the fixture, of course. Some vehicles, though, were equipped with an auto sparker, a remotely operated striker that allowed the driver to fire up from the lights from behind the wheel. But here, by 1912 or 1930, electric lights became the norm, although systems were still primitive. With the 6-volt electric system, incandescent lights, automobiles offered a better lighting source. So definitely was a really good thing to have. But these old lights were very, very cool. So, but like I said, this is from Napa Online. So obviously Napa has down here, check out all of our lighting parts available at Napa Online, or trust one of our 17,000 Napa Auto Care locations. Definitely want to give them credit for putting this together. And just like I said, I really, really like it. So, and some people always wonder, hey, where did headlights burning come from? It's because they used to.
There we go, guys. Fact of the day on the headlights burning. Definitely like, subscribe. Appreciate every one of you guys, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Hopefully we made you just a little bit smarter than you were yesterday. Steve Welch, fact of the day. You guys have a good day. Bye.